Westeros remembers kings, but it's warriors who decide history. No house has produced more violent, stubborn, battle-hardened fighters than the bloodline of Baratheon and Durrandon. From the Age of Heroes to the War of the Five Kings, we're ranking the greatest warriors these two houses have ever produced, based only on their combat abilities.
Right, this is two houses, but really it's just one, because one ends and the next one picks up the torch and continues on. And I'm very excited to talk about this one because, you know, we did Targaryens last time, and there were a couple good guys in there, some men, but mostly the Targaryens were boys. The Durrandons and the Baratheons. Now we're talking about the men of Westeros history. Let us know in the comments who you think the best fighter or the best warrior of House Baratheon / Durrandon is. Let's get into this.
Similar to our last video, we're going to go through this list and pick out who should be in the top 5. And at the end of this video, we're going to be ranking who is number 1 through 5. Okay, first one up here is Durran Godsgreif, the founder of House Durrandon. He's our first one up here, number 1. I don't know how long he's going to stay up there, Gator, but it's pretty impressive to court the... You want to say, is she a goddess? The daughter of the sea god, the wind goddess? He gets her in the sack, and then, I don't know, his only military claim he really has is claiming the rainwood from the children of the forest, which was, that's a whole story in itself that his son then gave away, and then his son took it back. I mean, make a decision, my guy here. But Durran Godsgreif, he's our first one up. How long do you think he's going to stay up there, Gator, and what are your general thoughts of him?
It's too ambiguous, I think, to really even consider him for the top 5. But for now, of course, we'll put him up there. He is undoubtedly, though, one of the largest nutted individuals in Westeros history. There's no chance he's not. He rizzed up the daughter of these gods, these storm gods, the water god, the wind god, won a war with the gods by literally just building the perfect phallic stronghold, dude. He just kept building castles and strongholds. The gods kept knocking them down. That was the nature of this war. Legends say it was magic that he was able to get that final one up, but I don't think so, man. I think it was just perfect construction. This guy's like Nimrod, the original Freemason. It's unbelievable what he was able to do. Like, it's hard to imagine. The warfare itself, the war that he declared on these gods, was just the gods trying to destroy the things that he kept on building. Very high T grind set, but not a lot of combat ability there, man. I'm kind of jerking him off there, but not a lot of combat ability to speak of. Not saying he doesn't have any. He probably did something to, win over that goddess, but for now, he's our number 1, I guess.
He's our number 1, and in a universe, because people question whether or not this person actually existed, I believe Durran Godsgreif existed, but he might have been a little bit of a schizo where he's saying, we got to build this keep because the gods hate me. Like, what? The gods hate you? Yeah, I'm having sex with their daughter. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, I guess we'll build this thing. And he's like, oh no, my whole family died. My whole family. It's like, did you kill your whole family? No, it was the gods that did it. It's like, I don't know. This guy, there's a lot of things I'm questioning about this guy, but I do have respect for him because he's the founding father of this great line that reaches all the way to Stannis and Robbie baby, or Bobby baby.
Bobby B.
So, okay, next one up. Durran the Dour, which I hear Dour and I think a little bit of gloomy, but this guy's not gloomy at all. He's relentless. And his feat, which is just the number, like some of these people we're going to be talking about literally have one line in A World of Ice and Fire, but his feat is slaying Loon the Last, king of the giants down the Stormlands. I mean, when he killed this giant, this couldn't have been his first time doing it, right? This is definitely a pattern of behavior. I mean, this guy might be on to the very end. He killed a giant, Gator. A giant.
He didn't just kill a giant.
A giant.
He killed the king of the giants. Just think about the really only great example we have visually to show us the prowess of these giants is in the Game of Thrones TV show. The books aren't super descriptive about this. The TV show has the giant, giving us some crazy feats. Just looking at how impressive this guy is, okay? If Durran the Dour killed the mountain, let's just say, that would be extremely impressive, okay? That would be a feat, like Meleys, let's say. Meleys, Blackfire, the mountain, those guys are menacing. They're extremely powerful. But this guy took down the king of the giants. That is a feat all on its own. I don't see a lot of people on this list even coming close to beating that. So I'm just predicting this right now. I don't know, man. I don't really see a way that Durran the Dour does not stay in this list for the entire time. Like, how is he going to get kicked out of the top 5?
It's hard.
It is hard.
I don't know.
And I think this is explainable because a lot of this old legend stuff is like, did he really kill the king of the giants? I think that he did. And right. I do think that the god statement with Durran Godsgreif, I think he did marry and have a child with a goddess. And that's how he's able to produce these super powered beings like Durran the Dour. I don't think Durran Godsgreif himself was all that physically powerful. He just had some great spirit and character. But guess what happens when he plugs a goddess? They're going to pop out some extremely, extremely powerful warriors. Durran the Dour is one of them.
All right, so he's up on the list. Okay, next one up. When doing research about this, I had no idea who this person was until we did this video and looking into some of these people. Durran, and there's going to be a lot of Durrandons in this list, but Durran the Young, a.k.a. the Butcher's Boy, Gator. And what he's known for is not just being like, I chopped up a bunch of people. He chopped up a bunch of Dornish people to the point where he dammed a river in Dorne.
Yep.
Think of how many people he had to slay. Now, we don't have a definitive, the feats he's done where he killed a certain knight or lord, but he dammed a river with bodies. That is impressive. Even just the logistics of it. Even if we just have to put him, he doesn't make the list, but come on, we have to appreciate here the Butcher's Boy.
Yeah, well, I want to correct you there because it's not the Butcher's Boy, it's the Butcher Boy. So he himself was the Butcher
Boy.
He himself was the butcher, and that's how he damned this river, by butchering up all these filthy Dornish. Their food is terrible. They suck. We don't like their region whatsoever. I'm glad that he dammed the river. I hope it cut off their water supply for a while. But of course, our longtime viewers will know this definitely adds context to a later character, the Butcher's Boy. This would be the Butcher, therefore the Butcher's Boy. This is the direct successor, the direct line of power has passed on. It's skipped many generations into Micah the Butcher's Boy. So you have to wonder, is he really dead? I don't think he is. I think he made a pact with the Hound, and we're going to see some big things happen in Winds of Winter with that character. But anyway, I do think that Durran the Young is impressive. I don't think he's going to stay on the list for that long because his own personal battle feats, we don't really know. But you can't argue with the fact that he's at the very least a good commander.
Yeah, and I guess I just made the mistake that many people do with the Night King and the Night's King, right? Just adding an S in there just makes a world of difference. But he's up here on the list. In my heart, he'll always be up there. But the next one up here, Monfryd Durrandon I, a.k.a. Monfryd Durrandon the Mighty, who conquered Duskendale and Maidenpool. Now, he doesn't have, similar to some of these other people here, a precise 1v1, how many people he took out. But this is one of the largest conquest thus far within Durrandon history, defeating these petty kings from House Darkland and Mooten. I mean, this is a great feat, but he's up on this list, but he might be the first one off here as we go down further into this list.
Oh, dude, 100%. I personally think this guy is pathetic. We're going to talk about a couple other people here as we go, like Arlan III. I kind of told you just very briefly a few comments before we made this video. We didn't have any discussion, but a little bit. And I told you, I think that like the Arlan Durrandon and these other guys, there's a few of them that I don't even think they should be considered for the top 5. So we're going to briefly talk about them. But I'll say this about Arlan III, and we'll get to him. He is more impressive than the man we're talking about right now, Monfryd the Mighty, Monfryd I. He sucks ass. He barely beat 2 petty kings who are just trying to hold their little 20-acre plots of land together in the Riverlands versus some later guys like Arlan III who successfully conquered the entire Riverlands. You know what I mean? So, maybe Monfryd the Mighty, where he lacks in conquering skills, maybe he makes up for it on in tournament ability, like melee ability, but we have no evidence to say that. So, yeah, sorry, Monfryd. I don't know where you get the name the Mighty. No bueno.
Yeah, some of these. There's another guy, I don't know if he was Durrandon the Conqueror, where I don't think he really conquered anything, but for whatever reason, just self-proclaimed titles will last throughout history, I guess, in the Stormlands. The next one up, okay, in my heart, Durran, the Butcher Boy, is number 1, but in my heart also, Ronard Storm, the Bastard, is number 2, because this is a bastard who is the half-brother of King Morden II, and took over the duties of his brother, and then slowly just took power to eventually then become king, and he's crowned by, the king's queen, so his wife, and there's rumors that he actually slept with her too. This guy is, what is the comparison of this guy, of Ronard Storm? He starts as like a bastard and then works his way up to he's almost like Land the Clever, but actually existed. And eventually he defeats, and now this is the reason why he's on here, not because all these other things are like kind of impressive, but they're not really warrior-esque. He defeats petty kings and rebels throughout the Stormlands, but every time he defeats one, he beds the daughters of his adversaries, and it's said that he had 23 wives and 99 sons. Dude, this is ridiculous. This guy is like almost mythical, but I'm pretty sure he existed more than any of these other people before him.
That's 100% true that he is more likely to have existed. I think they all existed, by the way, but but that is just ridiculous. That's way Coomer energy, dude. That's cringe. That reminds me of the Targaryens, how they want to have the right of the first night still, and it took like many generations before that stopped. Yeah, not a fan whatsoever of this guy. I think he's impressive in that way, I guess. Like his, it's not even charisma because he defeated these people and then he definitely was raping these wives and daughters or whatever. Maybe some of it was consensual. I don't know. Maybe he was great. Maybe he's a 10 out of 10.
23
he's a looks maxer.
Consensual wives.
Right. And all these sons, what they came from, probably more women than that. And listen, there's a lot to say about the potency of his seed, okay? You can't fault him for that. Not sure how any of this translates to the battlefield, though. Again, this could easily be a situation where he is just telling people to do things. Maybe he chose some very excellent knights, but I think he'd get spanked by most of them, probably. I don't know. I just feel like if there was a feat of his, combat-wise, we would know about it, There's a reason why all the only feats we hear about are all the women that he schleps.
Yeah, there is a reality where he doesn't take the field at all when going after these petty kings and rebels in his lands. But I have to think at least a couple of them he's doing that for. And if that's the case, you're saying 23 of them, he never once just did a 1v1 or was able to take out some competitive knights out there. I don't know. I think at least some of them are there, and that's more than what Monfryd the Mighty, or even like Durran Godsgreif. I love Durran Godsgreif, but how many people did he destroy? This guy's destroyed 23 adversaries and stacking 99 sons. This is like Genghis Khan in the story.
No, I agree. The only one that Durran Godsgreif for sure destroyed was his wife, the goddess. So I think he would actually probably be the first to get kicked off the list. I hate to say that, but I actually do think Durran Godsgreif has to go, man. He's just not a great fighter from what we know.
Well, that's our fifth one here. So we have 5 here. So the next one up, we'll see if they penetrate the top 5 here. Monfryd V, the other Monfryd.
Yeah.
No nickname at all. He defeated the Andal Holy Brotherhood at the Battle of the Bronze Gate, which is made up of like 7 petty kings that made up the Andal Holy Brotherhood. But in the process of doing so, he unfortunately died. Do you think his efforts gets him in the top 5, Gator, or no?
100%. I mean, this is the Justice League of the 7. This is the Justice League of the Andal race. Absolutely, yes. I can only assume, based on the lore of this and just the implication, these 7 have to be the most elite, if not the most pious, probably both. And he managed to take them out. There's only like a couple of explanations for this. It tells me that the Durrandons, specifically Monfryd here, he had to have been chosen by the 7 himself to take these guys out and usurp them. There's no way the power of the old gods did that. That's impossible. So, but even if there's no god involvement at all, maybe all the gods, took themselves away from that moment. They distanced themselves. Let's just see what these guys can do. And Monfryd took his nuts out, and he defeated these guys. I think that that it's extremely impressive, no matter how you look at it. He dies in the end. That almost makes it better. It's almost more badass. If he beat all 7 of these guys, it would lead me to believe, dude, these guys suck. How are these guys the chosen of the 7? That makes me think that the religion of the 7, should I be really that pious toward it? Or, I might be questioning my faith. But don't worry. He died in the process, and we know he has some God's blood in him. So, very, very impressive man. He's definitely in the list. He's in the number 2 spot for me, actually.
Number 2 spot. So who are we kicking out? Are we kicking out Monfryd the First? Durran?
I think so, dude. I think so.
Rest in piss, Durran. I mean, I don't think Durran's making it to the end of this list because his feats are just architectural and structural, if anything. He has that. A lot of people want to say, who's his name? Bran the Builder was there, but everything that's built is it was somehow touched by Bran the Builder.
Yeah.
It's come on, Durran, you're not giving Durran enough credit here. But yeah, Monfryd V gets up there. Durran Godsgrief down on the ground. And what you said earlier, the Faith of the 7, shout out to Ormond III, who eventually converted the Stormlands to the Faith of the 7, which
True that.
I just wanted to give him a quick shout out because I don't think he'll get enough credit throughout the history book. So the next one up here is, it's your favorite here. Arlan Durrandon I, a.k.a. the Avenger, who expanded, this is impressive. He expanded the territory of the Stormlands up to Blackwater Rush, which is the Crown Lands, and then also to the start or the headwaters of Mander River, which is in the Reach where the Manderleys used to be. This is a huge area they now control as the Stormlands.
100%. And it's one of these situations. There's going to be a couple more of these guys. I think maybe there's 2 or 3 more guys just like this. Territorial expansion, it's just not a combat feat. So This goes for Arlan 1 and Arlan 3. Both of these guys, I don't think can be considered for the top 5. They offer nothing in terms of combat or fighting ability that we haven't already seen from our top 5 boys.
Yeah, they're impressive. Arlan III eventually conquers the Riverlands and even has the Battle of the Six Kings. But again, we don't hear him taking out personally some knights, some warriors. So, of course, he just kind of has to go to the wayside. Now, the last Storm King, Argilac, the Arrogant. This guy, I mean, talking about going out with a bang, he definitely is in the top 5. He not only has turned back Dornish invasions at a young age, but he fought against Volantis in Essos and also killed one of the Gardener kings.
Yeah, it's Garth Gardner, man.
Yeah. So eventually he dies to Orys. But before that, pretty good stack here. I mean, he has to bump somebody off here. Is it Monfryd the First for you we got to bump off?
Absolutely.
To make the list?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you're looking at my Ronard.
No. Monfryd the First has to go. Ronard, he'll go afterward, I think. But there's no denying that Argilac Durrandon is great. And this is going to tie into the next one on the list too, Orys Baratheon. But I have to quick jerk off Argilac a little bit. He's battle hardened. He fought against Volantis. He killed Garth Gardner. He demanded marriage with the king, with Aegon, right, during the conquering, and would accept nothing less, went to war over it, and would have won the war if it wasn't for Rhaenys and her cheat code, Meraxes, right? That's just reality. Yeah, he was the one winning in that situation. The Storm Gods were, siding with him at this moment. Orys Baratheon then comes in, dispatched by Aegon, and, I think in the past, I've spoken pretty highly of Orys. In thinking about this video, I have done a complete 180. Orys only won because it was single combat against a super old man. Okay, this old guy has to have a riser seat on his toilet because his nuts sag down to the bottom of the toilet hole and completely plug it. Okay, that's how high T Argilac is. It's pathetic that Orys thinks that it's a feat to kill Argilac in his old age, even though his T is so high. He's an old man. That's like thinking it would be impressive for Indiana Jones to beat up that ancient Christian knight at the end of the Last Crusade. It's just not impressive feat from Orys.
No, I understand that, but if that Christian knight at the end of Last Crusade was talking so much shit, and he's also the guy that turned down the proposal of you, Orys, potentially marrying his daughter by saying, oh, you want to offer me this hand in marriage? Well, actually, I'm just going to cut off your envoy's hands and shove them in a box and give that back to you. These are the only hands you'll receive. I wonder, after he sent those, if he had a jerk store moment.
Yeah, he may
The hand store called. They're running out of these.
Yeah, speaking of Seinfeld, you know what he was doing when Orys challenged him? He was the old man. It's go time, Mandelbaum. That's what Orys was up against, and he touts it like it's a feat after he wins. Argilac in his heyday could literally wear a blindfold and beat Orys Baratheon. Orys, listen, Argilac, put him up there. He's in our top 5 for sure. Orys, on the other hand, for me, he doesn't even crack the top 5.
Orys doesn't. Oh my goodness!
Doesn't even crack the top 5 for me.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I don't know about
you could
that.
disagree.
I think I'm gonna fight for Orys here, but Orys. Okay, so we'll just go into Orys right now.
Yeah,
Orys One Hand, which I hate that nickname. That's such a dumb nickname he gets later in his life.
Oh, why? Because it's accurate.
Guess what? He loses a hand. That's just give me something else here. What he should have gotten the nickname for is after he beat the last Storm King was Stormbreaker. He should have gotten a nickname right there. He doesn't get a nickname until after he loses a hand. So come on, dude. I've done more than this. But yeah, he defeats the last Storm King. He actually commands Aegon's ground forces during the conquest, which is more impressive than Aegon sitting on back of Balerion.
True.
And, just playing easy mode on all these other houses. Later on the conquest, he gets captured during the First Dornish War. It's just a continuation of Aegon's conquest. And is captured by Will of Will, which I hate that name. He's known as the Widow Lover. And when he's returned back and they get ransomed, he then gets his hand cut off by the Dornish people. And this just makes Orys Baratheon, who has really no hatred towards the Dornish people because, he's kind of an outsider to their culture. He just drives a hatred towards the Dornish that eventually, in the Second Dornish War, he becomes obsessed with destroying them once he gets an opportunity. And he doesn't get revenge on Will of Will, the Widow Lover, but he gets it on his son by cutting off his hands and feet. And his son, Davos Baratheon, says his dad died smiling at the rotting hands and feet of Walter Will as they dangled in his tent. I mean, I like Orys. This is cool. I mean, as much as you might think it's weird that he has a hand and foot fetish, that at the end of his life he's just kind of sitting there as they're rotting in the tent, I'm all for it.
Absolutely pathetic the worst Baratheon. He's the first and the worst.
No.
His bloodline became alpha. You know why his bloodline became alpha? Through Argilac's daughter, because he took her in marriage and he was the sub the whole time. He was the sub. He didn't even want to marry her. Aegon was pushing for it, and Argilac's daughter took one look at him, saw him as a meat bag, threw him down on the bed, and he was never allowed to be top. That's just how that worked. I don't make the rules. I didn't write the story. That's the way it is. And plus two, dude, he's probably the bastard son of Aerion Targaryen. Aerion Targaryen. Nice Dr. Seuss name. Aerion Targaryen. My dad, Aerion Targaryen. Dude, come on. That's
we don't even know that's
too.
true.
It's probably true.
That's such a,
rumors don't just start.
It's a weird... I know, but also, it's just such a weird rumor that it was never confirmed. Why wouldn't anyone confirm it? There's no... you just get out in front of it. Yeah, he's my bastard brother. Who cares? He's also the Lord of Storm's End now and the Stormlands. Who cares? I don't know. It was dumb. But yeah, I will agree. Rhaenys on her dragon, swayed the actual fight. But, he did take out Argilac.
Dude, his biggest claim to fame is killing an old man after the way was paved and all the obstacles were removed by a dragon piloted by a woman. And then he lost his hand to a Dornishman. That's L. Huge L.
No. Listen, if we want to say getting captured by Dornish is an L, then your boy, the Dragon Knight, should have taken a huge L on our last video when he was captured by the Dornish. And the only way he was saved was by the blessed Baelor doing the most Christ-like thing coming down to save him.
Amazing.
So, I mean, if you want to talk about taking L's in Dorne, your boy, Aemon, the Dragon Knight, is number one on that list.
What did I say? The intro to this video. The Targaryens are boys. These are men. Okay. But you know what Orys is? Orys is a boy too. Orys belongs in the mud with the Dragon Knight and all these guys. Listen, you can put him in the top 5 if you want to, but
yeah, who's getting bumped? We can hash it out later. When he
your little bastard boy, he's getting bumped for Orys.
No.
Well, who else?
You're taking Monfryd V is going to stay there over Orys Baratheon?
Dude, listen, I agree with you. I don't think Orys should even be in the top 5, but I'm trying to make a compromise with you here.
Oh my. Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to fight for Orys. Okay, I'll put him over my Ronard Storm here, the bastard, but Orys one hand is staying there. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, because ridiculous here.
Hey, guys, I fought a senior citizen, and I totally won all by myself. And then Rhaenys just arrives back with her dragon, and everybody knows what really happened. Real impressive, Orys.
He can't pick his opponent. And also, after he lost his hand, he led a victorious Second Dornish War, taking out the Vulture King and also revenge on the Wills, which that's another dumb name George put up. The Wills. Reminds me of George Lucas.
Yeah, the Shaman of the Wills? Dude.
Well, next one up here is Sir Raymont Baratheon, the only Kingsguard member from House Baratheon, the youngest son of your boy Orys, who prevented the assassination of King Aenys when the Faith Militant was trying to climb up into his bedchambers and slit his throat. But luckily, Raymont Baratheon was there. But this is the only thing he's known for, and we don't know if he dies. We don't know anything else about him, but he is a warrior for Baratheons. Unless, do you think this guy was appointed because of political favors?
Yeah, I sort of think there's a possibility that he was up there for nepotism, but, it's hard to deny. He is a Baratheon / Durrandon. He's not just like Orys level. It's not like Orys asexually reproduced, like a clone of himself, and then it's just like this pathetic little sniveling guy, Raymond. No. It's Orys having sex with Argilac Durrandon, the last Storm King's daughter, and producing another one of these godly beings. Okay, so he's back to being high tea. I do believe that Raymond could have earned this spot legitimately, and I'm not saying it's difficult to take out these two Faith Militant guys, but it might be worthy of something. I don't think he cracks the top 5, but I don't think he's a piece of shit.
I don't think so either. I mean, the reflexes to be able to hear something coming up into your king's chambers and react quick enough to take them out. And he's probably outnumbered, too. I think he's probably the only one there. So he is impressive, but does he crack the top 5, Gator?
I don't
does
think so.
Monfryd V, your boy, doesn't hit it? Okay.
I don't
That's the only
think so.
person I'm saying. He just, there's not enough cool actions by this guy, which I really want George to write which he's never going to do it, but I would love to have a Fire and Blood version for the Baratheons.
Oh, dude, so cool. Yes.
Okay, the next one up here, Rogar Baratheon, who, he was Hand of the King, I think, at some point with Jaehaerys, and his biggest warrior feats was towards the end of his life, he wanted to die a warrior's death, and he fought one of the Vulture Kings, so there was many, and killed him with ease, even in his old age, but was kind of pissed because he didn't get his warrior's death, and he just died of, I think he died of old age or later on in life.
Yeah,
but
died of disappointment.
is this impressive enough for you to hit the top 5?
I want to say yes, because he was just absolutely rock hard at the thought of fighting Maegor 1v1, you know? It's like, dude, knowing Maegor and knowing who he is, the fact that you were just itching to fight this guy, maybe he's an idiot, that's true, but I don't know, man. To be that confident, it tells me something. Plus, he swore for Jaehaerys as soon as humanly possible, so you know it wasn't all talk. Like, he was ready to get into conflict with Maegor, you know what I mean? He wanted to, and it was actually Maegor was the one that didn't deliver. You know, for some reason, like he wasn't very aggressive against the Baratheons, and like you said, he no-diffed that one Vulture King. So maybe that's a feat. It's hard to say. We don't really know anything about that Vulture King's abilities, but I don't know. Like I don't know if it's Rojar or Rogar. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Oh
but
yeah, Rogar.
One of the two.
I always want to say Roger when I see it. Did I say Roger earlier?
I don't know, but I want to say Rogar. That's like how I want to say it, but. I learned from watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms that I was saying some things wrong, which, like, I always thought it was Maekar Targaryen, but apparently it's like, what did they say? Something different than that. Anyway,
I didn't think they mispronounced it on purpose.
Yeah, something weird about that. Yeah, Maekar, that's what it was. Like, are you kidding me? It's not Maekar, it's Maekar. Anyway, I want Rogar to be in the top 5 just because of this Maegor, thirst, but I don't know who we kick out for him. What do you think?
The Butcher Boy and Monfryd V. They do impressive things, but what is assigned to them with their combat abilities? Really nothing. It's just they're leading the forces, but they're doing like amazing things. So I don't know where Rogar lands in that because he does have this 1v1. I don't know. This is like a toss-up for me. It just feels like this is kind of this nebulous. I think Orys Baratheon's way cooler than Rogar Baratheon, so I think there's a top 3 right now that I'm fine with, but are you leaning any way towards?
I think I think actually just because for consistency, we have to discard Rogar because we don't know about like any feats. We know his confidence, but he doesn't actually have any feats, so I don't think it's fair to put him in there. Now that I think about it,
the Vulture King is cool and all, but whatever. We don't know.
Now I think we're going to go into Lyonel Baratheon, who is the Laughing Storm from the show. We see him in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, so we're going to go into a little spoiler territory for the Duncan Egg stuff. What's going to be happening in the show of Night of the Seven Kingdoms regarding this character. So if you don't want that, don't watch right here. We're going to timestamp it though, so you'll be able to move forward to after we're done talking about him, and then we shouldn't be bringing him up again. But Lyonel, he's a great tourney fighter, by reputation. We see him do decently well in the Trial of the Seven in this series, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're about to see it. It happens in the Hedge Knight book, but later on during another conflict, he literally loses a fight to Duncan the Tall. That's what decides this little rebellion that he has because he's disgruntled about a marriage pact that doesn't go through. And he loses to Duncan the Tall, who is notoriously not that skilled of a knight. So, I mean, what do we do with that, Don?
Hold on. You're saying Duncan the Tall is not that skilled of a knight? He is the commander of the Kingsguard. He's one of the greatest knights to ever wear the armor and be within Westeros. The only time he takes an L is from Sir Duncan the Tall, which is, impressive. But that's 20, almost 30 years after the tourney at Ashford. So maybe Lyonel is a little older in his age. And the whole reason why he's getting upset he's spaghetti is because, Duncan Targaryen was supposed to be marrying his daughter.
Yes.
Which this is just very short-sighted by my guy Lyonel. But we're not really looking at how he sees the political landscape. It's just how he's able to fight. So I don't know. It's said that he brings honor to House Baratheon along with the unknown knight known as Stormbreaker, who that's what Orys's nickname should be, but we don't know much about the Stormbreaker. But Lyonel, what does he do? Yeah, he wins tourneys. There's not really a combat or a war going on right now for him to participate in. He starts his own, but then loses it. So he looks so good. I want to love the Laughing Knight. He's like one of my favorite characters in the series, in Song of Ice and Fire, but who's he kick off?
No, I don't really think. Listen, you can put him in again. It's another one of these situations. I'm kind of indifferent. Like maybe you could kick off Orys, or I guess I could also see you being, or I could also see possibly the Butcher Boy being kicked off. Right, either one of those two would be fine. Maybe even Monfryd V could go. But I'm just not that convinced that Lyonel would even go in there. Duncan the Tall, he's one of the most respected and like illustrious knights. He's not one of the most skilled knights of all time, even in his old age. It's not like he is up there with the likes of, spoiler alert, Bobby B, or like Jaime, Barristan, Arthur Dayne, the Dragon Knight, Daemon Blackfire. He's not one of them. So with the fact that Lyonel loses to Duncan the Tall, I don't. It's just not that impressive, man.
I am putting Lyonel up. I'll take the sacrifice and sacrifice my butcher boy.
All right.
But Lyonel's going up there. I don't know if he'll last based off your pessimism towards him. But speaking about spoilers, another spoiler here. The next one up. So it went a little out of order here. Borros and Lyonel probably should have been switched, but Orys Baratheon, spoiler alert for House of the Dragon, because we're talking about what he does in the Dance of Dragons. So we'll have a timestamp when we're done talking about him. But Borros, he might be up here on this list, in my opinion. He is betrayed at the Battle of the King's Road, but before he goes down, he kills 12 knights, Gator. 12 knights in a row. And I have to... It's hard for me to think that they came at him in a single file line. They probably came at him all at once. And he's like, ting, 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 ting. He's like Sir Arthur Dayne out there. Orys Baratheon, he might be the top guy after this. 12 knights?
I know.
I mean,
yes.
Robert probably could have done like 24. But yeah, Orys Baratheon, he might. He's taken off Monfryd V. I think Monfryd V was hanging on by a thread after these other people. I know you're not a big fan of Lyonel Baratheon right now, but Orys Baratheon is in the top 5.
Dude, 100%. For me, he's in the top 3 right now, if not the top 2. Because, dude, 12 nights? You're not going to find any pessimism from me on this guy. He did 12 nights while injured, by the way. Each night probably sustaining a new injury as well, unless he's just doing that Link move, where you take the Master Sword and swing it around in a circle, that one you can spam in every depiction of Link. Just keep on spinning, take out all the knights around you. I don't think he's doing that. He's a Baratheon, you know what I mean? He's a real brawler. The fact he took out 12 dudes while injured on the King's Road, it's extremely impressive. It's like imagine doing a Trial of the Seven and it's you versus 7, and then now add 5 more guys. Like I'm not saying it's like the most impressive guys ever. We're not talking about the Kingsguard fighting you, but it's not like these were pushovers either. You know what I mean? I think they were knights from Duskendale, and then you had several like Tullymen. There were a few people. There's a few knights that are named. Like I think 2 lords even I think were killed. By this guy. So it's impressive.
Yeah, I think if they do a movie of this guy, it should be called 12 Crazy Nights, and kind of have a tie-in with 8 Crazy Nights. Adam Sandler. Right. Adam Sandler is Orys Baratheon for the movie. Hell yeah! Dude.
Whoa.
No. All right. Do we even need to talk about this? King Robert Baratheon, first of his name, Demon of the Trident. He has to be the number 1. Definitively. The only loss he ever took was to Randall Tarley, but that wasn't even a 1v1. That was more of like a strategic loss. Now, he got killed by a boar, but I think people underestimate how deadly a boar can be when you're drunk off your ass. I don't know. He probably was.
And out of shape.
Alcohol level was like 50%. Yeah, his BMI is, 80 and 80%.
Oh,
his blood
dude, he's like
50.
Kingpin. He's like 600 pounds and he's got a 4% body fat. But yeah, no, he's out of shape, dude. He's old. He's drunk as hell. He's stressed out. He's got Ned up at King's Landing. Jon Arryn is dead. He's not in his right mind. Of course, a boar is going to take him out. And it was a mutual assured destruction. It's not like the boar lived through it. But yeah, obviously, dude, we don't need to talk about it. 3 battles in one day. Dude just caved in Rhaegar's chest, staged a whole rebellion, was responsible for ending the Targaryen dynasty. It's unbelievable. Robert is easily in the top 5, easily in the top 2. I'm not so sure he actually defeats Durran the Dour. I'm not sure about that. The fact that guy took out the King of the Giants and probably took out other giants as well. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Like if you take Robert and put him against the Mountain, I'm not saying that Robert loses to the Mountain, but it's not like oh yeah, Robert's gonna no-diff the Mountain. That's not the case. I think that Durran the Dour does no-diff the Mountain. So yeah, I think Robert's in the top 2 right now. Yeah, for sure.
Durran the Dour looks at the Mountain and goes, "This is easy. This is like killing that giant's kid," which I did multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, unfortunately, I think he looks at Robert the same way. So,
yeah, but with Robert here popping in the top 5, who do we bump? Argilac, I don't think he stays. You said the
Borros
Dour,
stays.
Durran the Dour. Borros stays. So it's Orys or Lyonel, which I'd love to hear people comment down below. Who do you think is actually better here between Orys, one hand, and Lyonel Baratheon? Lyonel Baratheon, as much as I love the Laughing Storm, he doesn't have like a lot of feats 1v1, and the one we get, he takes an L, and the Trial of 7, he doesn't really kill anybody there either, I'm pretty sure. He survives, and it's impressive, but, it's not like going out and hunting down the Vulture King with your sword hand missing and still being able to be impressive out there. I don't know. I think Orys still is over the Laughing Storm, but I could hear an argument if there was more lore about Lyonel taking his spot. But I think Lyonel Baratheon's bumped.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. It's like I'm not saying that Lyonel is for sure worse than Orys. Like, it's possible that Lyonel's fully capable of doing everything Orys did. He just didn't do it. Like, we're not sure he did it. I think Orys is the worst Baratheon, just straight up. So, like, in my own headcanon, Lyonel can do whatever Orys did, at least. But Orys, you can't argue with feats. Like, on paper, Orys just has the feats to stay, even though he is the worst Baratheon.
And we got a lot of comments on our last video when we talked about feats. They're wondering when we're going to be doing ranking actual feat. Maybe it'll be a member video, ranking the feat of Westeros.
Yep.
I'm sure we'd get a great audience for that, Gator.
I think so, too. Let's move on to the final boy here and his feat.
Yeah. And the best feat within Westeros currently living. Stannis Baratheon, actually King Stannis Baratheon. Anyone that doesn't call him King, please unsubscribe right now. Leave us, please. But he's fought in 3 wars. He fought in Robert's Rebellion, Balon's Rebellion, and the War of the Five Kings. And if it wasn't for some silly imp trick, he'd probably be sitting on the Iron Throne right now. So as a warrior, as a leader, he's really good. But feats-wise, his actual accomplishments, I mean, you got to give him some credit for fighting off the urge to eat people in Storm's End when Mace the Ace was sitting out there sieging it.
Dude, he has a ton of discipline. He's got a lot of discipline. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but like if you ever do like a 3-day fast or 5-day fast, me, by like day 2 and day 3, I just find myself scrolling on like mukbang YouTube channels. I'm just like, oh, dude, look at all this food they're eating. I do. I'm not even joking. Like, that's what I get to.
That is crazy.
I just get so hungry. So I can relate to the discipline, how difficult it would be not to eat until you're literally starving. But dude, yeah, what feats does Stannis have on the battlefield? I have no doubt that Winds of Winter is going to come, and Stannis is going to take that sword of his, plunge it into the heart of Melisandre or Shireen or somebody, and pull out the true Lightbringer, and he's going to display some of the most amazing, like General Grievous-esque combat moves we've ever seen, against whatever problems come his way, the others, the White Walkers, whatever. But until that time, he does not make the list.
He burns Mance Rayder. That's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
In the books, it's
fake Mance Rayder. Yeah, I was going to say.
Which makes it even more cool and badass. Okay, so we're ranking our top 5. We have our top 5 here. Now let's rank them in order. And I think we can agree.
It's going to be
Orys
easy.
is the bottom of this list. Orys is the bottom. Okay, and this is where I think it's going to get a little difficult. I think Argilac and Borros are they're going for 3 and 4 here. So who's 4 in your opinion? Who's the lower one of these two?
I think that the lower one by feats.
If you agree with that statement.
Yeah, I do. No, right? Yeah. No, I do 100%. It's really tough to say because they're 2 different animals, Like you have Argilac, he's had like a much more versatile like spread of feats, I think. Whereas Borros has like this one very, very impressive feat. You can't really definitively say that Argilac couldn't have done the same in his prime. That's kind of the hard thing. But again, I think just to be consistent, you almost have to put Borros above Argilac because Argilac just isn't displayed doing something that impressive. That's how can you argue against it?
Yeah. I mean, if we're just going solely off of their feats that we see individually they do or claim to have done, yeah, then I guess Borros has to be above Argilac. And Argilac is no one to scoff at. There's nothing to scoff at when it comes to Argilac because he's fought in like 3 separate wars and has held his own in, he won 2 of them, or at least was successful in 2 of them. And the third one, actually, no, he fought 4 basic conflicts, right? The major conflicts. And 3 of them, he's very successful. And 1, he's at his, he's a very cranky man. I don't know when the arrogant came into it, but he might have just been a very cranky old man that's kind of fed up with living this long, dealing with the weather and area of the Stormland. So I don't know. I guess Borros is above Argilac.
It's reluctantly because again, it's like I personally think that Argilac could probably do the same in the right situation. We just don't know it for sure. That's the thing, and it's such an impressive feat. It's not one of those things where you can just say, "Well, I think he could do it." It's not a reasonable thing for me to just assume,
Yeah. Okay. So then, we have glazed Durran the Dour so much. Does he somehow best our boy Bobby P?
Yeah, I think. How could you possibly think he doesn't? Yes. Are you kidding me? What, you think Robert could take down? Robert had a good fight with Rhaegar. You could say Rhaegar has some kind of, like I said in the previous video, like Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan rage boost. You know what I mean? Maybe Rhaegar had that against Robert, so Robert was dealing with like a Saiyan level person. But guess what, man? The Durrandon, especially this far back, this is close to the blood of the gods themselves. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to talk about like Saiyan blood, he's got it, and he is going to take Robert to pound school. One of the few who can do that.
Yeah, this is, it's so hard for me to do because I love Robert so much. But Durran the Dour did not just defeat the last giant king, or the last king of the giants, but he slayed him. He personally did.
Yes.
Now, I'm wondering, is there a way, I wish we could run a simulation. We should invest millions of dollars to do this, but have Robert simulate a fight against a giant. Do you think Robert could actually be successful against a giant?
I do think so.
I think he might have a chance.
Think about it like AT-AT style, like Luke Skywalker AT-AT style. Robert goes in with like a rope and a hammer, like his signature hammer, kind of on horseback, circling the giant, maybe hooks around him or whatever, ties him up a little bit, then takes his hammer, swings it, takes out his knees, giant's on the ground. All you got to do is cave in the head now. You know, there's a strategic way he could do it. But if you're talking battlefield, like, okay, Robert's standing there, no horse, just weapon and armor, and like just one the giant is standing, 10 feet away from him, and they're about to charge at each other. There ain't no way Robert's taking that guy down. It's impossible.
I don't know. It's hard for me to think that Robert is not the best Baratheon Durrandon descendant, because Robert is just so good. Even in, like we said, his fat old age, with his BMI so high and his alcohol percentage skyrocketing, he still was able to kill the boar. The boar did not go home to tell this story to his other boar friends. Robert took it out. And Robert, he fought, many conflicts as well. I should say many, but he also fought in Balon's Rebellion. It was in the front lines, or at least there in the conflict. And he's such a great fighter that this is almost like the same thing we did with Borros and Argilac, where it's like A is 1 feet greater than the many. And I guess I'll go with you here, Gator. I'll go with you here. Durran the Dour is our number 1, and Robert is taking second seat. Because I don't think anyone else is even talking about Durran the Dour. Name what other YouTube channel is talking about Durran the Dour. Name one other person in the universe is talking about this.
No one.
There should be statues in Westeros built to this man.
Yeah, we need to make some amazing AI art. Don't unsubscribe. Well, actually, yes. If you have a problem with AI art, please unsubscribe. But and I hope the door hits you on the way out. Yeah.
AI art.
But we had to make some AI art for this guy, because there's just not enough respect. And I don't think it's really a comparison, like you said, man. It's not really like a 1 feat versus the other. We have actual feats of Robert. Like the Rhaegar one is the best one, because that fight apparently was like a good fight. It's not like he just completely trashed Rhaegar, which I wish wasn't the case. But apparently it was like a decent fight, and Robert came out on top. Like he edged him out. Do you think that Rhaegar would have any inkling of a chance against a giant? There's no way. There's no way.
No, and it looks like the edgelords take another L. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not. We don't care.